Welcome back to Wake Up Canada News. I'm Brad Wilder. Did you know the Federal Ethics Commissioner has been barraged by more than 1,000 requests for the office to investigate claims that senior members of the Canadian government are under the sway of the World Economic Forum, or the WEF? No longer a theory, it has gained remarkable currency among Canadians. Is the Swiss-headquartered World Economic Forum secretly pulling the strings on the Canadian federal government, particularly when it comes to COVID policy? The short answer is yes. But it's not entirely them, as it also involves the WHO, the CDC, and NIH, UN, even the World Bank, just to name a few. It's crazy to jump to the conclusion that an international cabal of ultra-elitists is secretly pulling the strings on world affairs, particularly when they keep claiming as much. Now let me explain. The WEF head, Klaus Schwab, certainly acts like the head of a global conspiracy. Schwab has a thick German accent, eerily straight posture, and a Nazi-like abrasiveness to consistently claim that he deserves a Nobel Prize and has infiltrated governments around the world. Most notoriously, in 2017, he claimed he was able to penetrate the cabinet of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau by virtue of the fact that 50% of ministers had once been members of the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders program. Let's roll the clip.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau.
I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of his cabinet, or even more than half of his cabinet, are actually young global leaders, Schwab said in a widely circulated video. Let's take a look at that too.
So that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the president, who is a young global leader. But what is important for me is those young global leaders have an opportunity to come here. And we, in addition to the young global leaders, we have now the global shapers in 450 cities around the world.
Diversity fosters new ideas. New ideas generate the experimentation needed to make the most of the fourth industrial revolution.
The creepy language is not only limited to Schwab. The WEF put out a video praising a future where you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And in the depths of COVID-19, the group began relentlessly trumpeting the pandemic as an opportunity for a great reset, under which the global economy would be rebuilt to their preferred specifications. When Trudeau subsequently used the term reset to describe the Canadian pandemic policy at a UN speech in November of 2020, the accusation was that he was taking the line directly from his shadowy WEF masters. The WEF is basically a group of rich, absurdly rich people pretending they're saving the world. Now, if the WEF is guilty of any conspiracy, it's the one where they have turned our so-called leaders into double agents. Through unbelievably expensive conferences in Davos, Switzerland, where attendees eat $50 burritos and pretend that they're all heroes out to save the planet, it's a phenomenon called the Davos Man. While prior generations of the elite were generally comfortable limiting their social engagements to elite golf clubs or maybe even yachting regattas, or, the genius of the WEF has been attracting, a new kind of elite, who, in the words of some, say they want gratitude and validation that they're doing their part to make the world a better place. A recent Vanity Fair profile called it a place where the narcissistic and elite go to strike deals under the guise of saving the world. A frequent theme of the WEF summits are corporate and world leaders giving high-flying, optimistic speeches about human brotherhood, even as they pursue policies that are, well, effectively the exact opposite. Such as Microsoft CEO talking about AI ethics as his company sells surveillance technology to China. It's for this reason that the WEF has an uncanny ability to attract the who's who of CEOs and G20 political influencers. Anybody can attend an elite network conference, but only the WEF offers the prospect of doing it while feeling good about inventing new civilization-saving buzzwords such as critical race theory, global warming, pandemics, lockdowns, and the world's biggest psyop ever committed on mankind. While there's a bit of a difference between attending a conference and being a compliant Illuminati puppet, Michelle Garner-Rempel, conservative, is obviously no fan of the Trudeau government here in Canada, but she did attend a Davos summit in 2016. In a lengthy essay for The Line, she described it as basically an academic conference, albeit way more expensive and elite. But the appearance has dogged Garner ever since with allegations that she's a WEF puppet too. The thrust of Garner's counter-argument is that conspiracists are putting too much stock in the notion that a politician could have their entire allegiance shaped simply by attending a conference, receiving an award, or reading a badly conceived white paper. If Trudeau has a weakness for using WEF talking points, she wrote, it's mostly because he's an idiot who recycles fashionable buzzwords and wouldn't mind an invite back to the Davos party scene. Think of it as a secular version of the accusations that once dogged the Catholic Church. We easily forget that Catholic politicians once faced mainstream criticism that they were pawns of the Vatican. In 1928, U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Al Smith was decisively defeated in part because of accusations that he would amend the U.S. Constitution to establish Catholicism as the country's state religion. Now, if you compare that to the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, although Pelosi never tires of reiterating her deep Catholic faith, given her uncompromising support of on-demand abortion and gay marriage, let's just say she obviously isn't paying attention to the Catholic fine print. The WEF ultimately kind of sucks at influencing world events. One easy way to debunk the notion the WEF is a secret society and world government is to take a look at just how many of its alumni refuse to honor the group's utopian vision of stakeholder capitalism and global free trade. Seems for every Justin Trudeau recycling WEF buzzwords into their speeches, there's a former WEF attendee who clearly just attended for the connections and the free food. Now, a great example is U.S. former President Donald Trump. Klaus Schwab was positively fawning when he introduced a keynote speech by Trump in early 2020, calling the president's leadership absolutely essential. But in addition to aggressively opposing WEF positions on climate change and free trade, Trump has also been largely responsible for mainstreaming the term globalists as a slam against the precise types of people who attend the Davos summits. In Canada, former Conservative leader Andrew Scheer was once a young global leader. Here's a guess that if Schwab had him on speed dial, Scheer wouldn't be putting out viral videos undermining confidence in the competency of central banks. Now, most notably, one former WEF young global leader is none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin. A major theme of the recent Davos summit was the immensely destabilizing impact of Russia's war in Ukraine, an event that has been almost single-handedly orchestrated by Putin. Now, if former young global leaders are truly subject to WEF orders, starting a European war for no reason would probably rank quite highly. But in recent months, it's come to light exactly what Putin is doing. A list of Canadians who attended the World Economic Forum in January of 2018, 19, and even 2020 is included at the end of today's show, so if you see someone, you just might want to have a chat. The WEF are the architects of the Great Reset. It peddles the pandemic as an opportunity to change the world irrevocably. These business leaders, academics, bankers, pension managers, and politicians have known for some time and been privy to its tenets. All is now revealed by founder Klaus Schwab and the thesis by the same name. The reset is always delivered with smooth words, but at its core, it's a cataclysmic global catastrophe and a complete transfer of wealth into the hands of those that have the most. It is also a transfer of power into the same hands, removing all rights and freedoms from individuals for the collective. The opening frames in the WEF recent video, "You will own nothing and you will be happy," is seared into the minds of many, the WEF and its partners. UN, IMF, World Bank, all their aim is to seize all wealth for redistribution. To whom is the question. We're surprised by several attendants over the last 3 meetings. In all 3 years, 18, 19, and 20, Teck Corporation was present. This is the company which abandoned the massive frontier oil sands project suddenly and on the heels of the 2020 Davos meeting. This investment would have single-handedly shored up Canada's economy. The question begs, why is Teck in bed with those who aim to destroy oil and gas in Canada? Justin Trudeau was present in 2018 in Davos. We presume this may have been a time he met with George Soros, the economic destroyer of nations. Also present in the same meeting was Soros' old pal, Chrystia Freeland, Finance Minister of Canada. Michael Sabia was present as well in 2020 and is now guiding Freeland as Finance Deputy Minister. In April 2020, Sabia was appointed chair of the Board of Directors of the Bank of Canada Infrastructure. He is still the chair of the Canadian Infrastructure Bank in October of 2020, but in June of 2020, he was appointed the director of the MasterCard Foundation. Then on December 6, 2020, it was announced that Sabia would be replaced by Paul Rochon as the Deputy Minister of Finance in Canada. He may be the man to effect the reset here in Canada, as his experience is far-reaching. There is a great deal to learn from these attendance lists and the agendas that filled their days in Davos. If you know someone on this list, I hope you seek to challenge them on this evil communist plan filled with tyranny and depopulation, not only in Canada, but around the world. Remember, you're the voice, so please make it count and do it now. I'm Brad Wilder. This is Wake Up Canada News. I'll see you next time.